What's going on, guys? You might have seen my earlier video about Throne Mesh. So I strung it up and I figured I'd do like a little more in-depth review of it. This isn't like a full review because I've only had it for about a day. But I did go out and use it quite a bunch. I tested it in different scenarios, I guess. But let me start off by saying this mesh is fantastic. I've tried like every big competitor of wax mesh. Tried Mark Mesh, which I do not like, and I tried East Coast Mesh, which was decent. But Throne Mesh definitely surpasses both of them in my book. At first, I was skeptical about getting it just because like it seems like every freaking person is trying to make their own wax mesh, and I feel like that's mostly my fault because I put out that tutorial. But so yeah. But I went for it because he's got a pretty big following and he knows what he's doing. So got the Throne Mesh, just got white. But anyways, to the review. It is really good mesh. So bunch of wax meshes. I get them and then they're really soft. This isn't the case with Throne Mesh. It seems like a pretty hard wax mesh, which I think is great because I'm a hard mesh kind of guy. Both Mark Mesh and East Coast Mesh are relatively soft, so I wasn't like too sold on them. But Throne Mesh definitely is a harder wax kind, so that's a plus in my book. Doesn't flake at all, stretches very easily. It was really easy to string. I just did like my preferred pocket that I would actually use, so it might not look the best, but it's the best for me. So one thing I noticed about East Coast Mesh is that when you string it, like a bunch of the wax, you can feel it like coming off on the strings and on your fingers. That pissed me off just because it felt weird. Throne Mesh doesn't do that, so that's definitely a fantastic attribute of it. Then I took it out and shot with it a bunch. I took about 20 shots just like straight up out of the shooting and then did a little wall ball. And I broke it in a little bit. But then I took a hose and sprayed it down and then like made a little mud pit in my backyard, so like test like adverse conditions. It excelled wonderfully. The water literally just beat it off. I've heard people say that before and I was just like, nah, that's crap. There's no way it does that. But it actually did it. I was surprised. So this stuff is waterproof, and then I shot with it after that, and virtually no change in whip, which is a plus because if you get like soft mesh, especially soft mesh or hard mesh, wet, then they tend to get really whippy, but not the case. And then I took it and like dipped it in the mud and then rolled the balls around in the mud. Got really muddy. When I did that with East Coast Mesh, a bunch of the wax kind of like came off. Not really came off, just like it started to get really soft. So I was kind of expecting the same thing, but again, not the case. So this stuff is pretty weatherproof. Excellent mesh. I definitely recommend it over both East Coast Mesh and definitely Mark Mesh. And pretty much every other wax mesh out there. If you like hard mesh, I would definitely give this a try. This is more of like a hard mesh, so that's why I liked it. A bunch of people like prefer softer mesh in wax mesh, but I don't. So overall, this is a very well made wax mesh. I would definitely recommend it to anybody. And yeah, yep. Not sure if I'll keep using this like forever, but it's definitely worth the money, I think. So if you're trying to try something new, go ahead and get this. You won't be disappointed, most likely. And yeah, overall it's just a very good product. So props to Throne of String for making it what it is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of a long review, but thanks for watching if you like stuck with it, and check out Throne Mesh, and and have a nice night.